Hi guys, I am super excited today. We are going to be moving over to Children's. So yes, it's kind of bittersweet. I really enjoyed this place and enjoyed the people here, but it's time for us to move next door over to Boston Children's. So this is where we would eat outside a lot of times or inside of the break room, which you've seen me in quite a few times, and our view. Yeah, kind of fun. Anyhow, I need to go over, and I was trying to pack everything up in the kitchen and stuff here, and I am going to be bringing that over to Children's as well, and within the next couple hours we will be moving over there. So let's start out in Brigham and Women's Hospital. In their hospital, they divide each thing into neighborhoods. So we were in neighborhood 1. And funny enough, there is Betty White on the window, which reminds me of my grandmother. She loved Golden Girls, and they have all throughout both hospitals, they have these breastfeeding vending machines, which is kind of cute. That is and helpful actually, and this is the view from my window at various times of the day. The sunset was beautiful over here. So when we first arrived over there, I did not have a window in my room, and it was actually really dark, and I didn't realize it was really dark until they offered me a room with a view, and I said yes. And it was just so much brighter in here. I was so happy in there. This is after he had his little CPAP on, all the snuggles. Oh my goodness, his cheeks look so cute with that on. So he went from a CPAP to a NICU. They're trying to see what his lungs would do or wouldn't do, so they ended up turning it to NICU, which is different settings. So these are the first little noises that he made after he had the CPAP on, because he couldn't do that when he was intubated. It was so sweet to hear him making noise. So here, my husband is holding him so he can get weighed.
Oops, I think I just...
Okay. Good job, buddy. Hi.
Hey, look at you. Look at you.
What's the matter, puppy?
This is Dad told me.
So here is kind of just an overview of that room that we were in. So sweet baby Azariah, all his equipment and machines and that type of stuff in there. And then there's the big window, my pumping machine, and couch. I took that out. It was neatened, and I was going to be making it into a bed. Beautiful view out there and a reflection, and this is how it's made into the bed. Your chest. What do you think all the noises, huh? What do you think of all the noises, Lava Bug? Yeah. So one of the hard things that I noticed at Brigham and Women's, and I think that it's just hard because it's hard and it's part of life, is the monitors go off, and as a mom, like, you want to just try to take care of what the issue is and take care of your baby and figure out what's going on. And just care for them, right? Like you want to just pick them up and walk around the room and they're still your baby, right? Even though they're like in this like area, they're still your baby. You want to like pick them up and rock them and sing to them and walk around the room and yeah, just like comfort them. And it's hard when you can't comfort them. And I shared that piece with all the monitors going off because it's really hard and like emotionally to hear the monitors going off and you can't do anything about it, you know? And it could be going off because sometimes it's not even like the medical condition. They have they put the monitor on like a body part. So like on their foot or their hands or whatever. And like with AZARIAH, they, like if his hands are colder, then it might not pick up things. He doesn't, for a long time, he didn't have good perfusion, which means like he didn't have lots of circulation like into his hands and his feet. And so that sometimes can do it. Sometimes they'll kick a little bit different and it will set the monitors off. So it's not always that something's going on. And some of the beepers and monitors are for, hey, this medicine's done or this food's done or something like that, right? And you get to know the monitors at the same time. It's kind of nerve-wracking, you know, like I showed that moment there because at nighttime sometimes you would hear the monitors and I'd get up and I'd go stand next to them and, you know, kind of just waiting, seeing if a nurse sees or whatever. I mean, the monitors are all over the place, right? But sometimes like they kind of will just wait a minute and see if they come back up. But meantime, like as a mom, you want to like take care of it right away, you know? And so that can be kind of challenging because you're not in control. You have to let that control over to somebody who knows their job. And it's not saying that like somebody's not doing their job. It's just saying like, I'm just trying to explain to you how it is like emotionally as a parent and as a mom to listen to the monitors go off. And you just so want to help your baby. You want to just be like, oh, I know that like when I hold him, his numbers look a lot better. Like I know that. And but I can't hold him all the time. He has to sleep. He has to sleep. He has to rest. There's tests going on and the transfers aren't good for him. So if I am going to hold him, I make sure that I'm going to hold him for a while. Like when I hold him, I'll hold him for 2 or 3 hours. But there has to be like no other tests coming up and those types of things to make sure that I can hold him, because sometimes transfers can be hard because you're going from like the bed to me, but then once he's with me, he's good, you know? So you don't want to just have like a transfer, like transfer to mom, transfer back, transfer to mom, transfer back. Yeah, so I just shared that piece there because it was something that I really felt on my heart. Also, you'll hear, it sounds like he's making like a little cry in the video. And that was actually super special because he had never, because he was intubated, like I had never actually heard his voice. And it's hard to tell if he's crying or talking because a lot of times he is just like chatting a little bit and it's so sweet, but it's normal stuff that babies do, you know, like a newborn baby is laying there and they'll be like, oh, like, and just like make those little noises or grunts or whatever. Even like, you know, while going to the bathroom, just making a little noise. Like we had never heard any of that from him and didn't realize that we hadn't until we actually heard it from him, right? So that was pretty special. So yeah, I shared those things. I know that some people will probably be a little bit negative, but that's okay. I know that most of you kind of really want to know, and I'm sharing for you, and I'm sharing because I just feel so blessed that you guys have been here through this whole journey to pray for us. And I know that like in my hard moments or hard days that like somebody's out there praying for me, and that's really a blessing. And I want to just thank you guys for that because it's so like peaceful to know that people are praying for you. So thank you. Are you ready, mister? We're going next door. Are you excited? Mommy's nervous. Yeah. Love you. My husband's gonna ask, how are you getting him from side? So here they put him on a ram cannula. That's what they like to use over at Boston Children's. So they put him on that. It's the same type of thing as the NICU, just in just another form, which more air can escape from, which we'll later find out. But so they're on that. It was so nerve-wracking going from one hospital to the other. The hospitals are connected, but it still was nerve-wracking. So we have respiratory and a nurse there. So the respiratory is in the red, and then my nurse is in the blue. And they did such a good job. I'm glad that they were there because they were just so helpful. So in and out of the elevators, and that's what the transport thing looked like. He was all like,
I thought you had
enclosed in
like a
the
secret
case, and then
pathway
as
or
you can see,
something.
the respiratory is going, and sometimes putting her hand in there, because when little babies get nervous or excited, they tend to either hold their breath or get really excited. So she was like putting her hand in there to comfort him, as well as at some point she wanted to give him just a little other breath of air, which normally the machine would just do that, but she needed to do that kind of manually. Oh my goodness, it was so cute to see his face. He was like so awake. Look at that sweet face. Aww. And then this is his new home over at Children's. He was resting well. Over here, this is the area that we have, which I actually really like it. That couch goes into a bed there. And this is kind of from the back area. This is the view from the break room or family room. And then this is also the family room. It's really pretty. So you have a totally different view of the other side of the city, really. And then the sun setting over there. I really like it over there. I think it's...
Bring that comfy chair over. He's got a nice seat over. Dr. Cherish, who is the NICU attending when we rounded, he's going to just come by and say hi.
Okay.
But yeah, let me get him ready. And somebody just wants to go get the breast milk.
I think it's so cute. He's never like rooted, because he was on his other side and he was like doing this to like the blanket, and I'm like, wow, that's so cute.
Wow.
All the baby stuff, huh? Oh, look at your little tongue. Yeah. So I thought that I would share in this video a couple things as well at the end here. If you comment, like down in the comments, like, what's wrong with his hands? Why is this happen? Why does that look funny? Why is this? I'm not going to answer those. My son has trisomy 18, and he is going to be disabled. We know that. We are completely happy to love a disabled child. We actually love loving disabled children. There's some sort of beauty in disabled children that most people don't see because it's not normal, and most people aren't blessed with because it's not normal. So I won't be answering any of those questions. If you want to learn more about it, you can research it yourself. You can watch other videos where I talk about things. There's lots of challenges that we are having with him, and so I'm not going to talk about the tiddly type stuff that outwardly makes him look different. If you're not okay with that, that's okay, but this is our family, and it's kind of rude to like point out somebody's character or somebody's flaws. Like, somebody doesn't just walk up to you and be like, oh my goodness, why do you have black hair? It's him. It's who he is. It's the way God created him, and he is fearfully and wonderfully made, no matter how he looks on the outward. But I hope that he can be just such a loving soul and somebody that we can love, you know, for a long time. And that's what we focus on. Quite honestly, I don't see those things. I see him as a person. I see him when he likes things or doesn't like things. Getting to know him in those ways is really important to me. Okay, so difference between children's and Brigham and Women's. So there are quite a few differences. I'm actually really happy that we switched over to children's. One of the main things is children's hospitals are really used to dealing with very complex cases. They are used to dealing with challenges. A child having a VSD or even a large VSD is, I imagine, challenging for them, but at the same time, it's something they do on a regular basis. Where Brigham and Women's is more, they deal with those types of things, but they would need to go over to children's for any of the surgeries and stuff. They specialize in that type of stuff. So it's nice just to hear like perspective and those types of things from the doctors that are actually going to be giving surgery. And they were coming over to Brigham's. But I do feel like we got a more all-around plan since we've been over there for like a long-term plan. I don't know if I'm going to share that or not. I really don't. It's something that we are thinking on and working through, and we don't know all details and that type of stuff either. But it is nice to have, hey, this is the next step, and not living moment by moment some days. I mean, there's still things like his lungs and stuff. Some days can be moment by moment. So just figuring it all out and deciding from there, like, what's next. The hospital itself was redone 2 years ago, and it's really nice. So the front part of the room is where the baby is, and the back part of the room actually has a bathroom in there, which is really nice. So it has like a bathroom and a shower, and then like the couch that can be made into a bed as well. And it's really nice. It's nice to be able to, like, there's a curtain just to close the curtain off and be able to pump right there. It's nice to be able to go to the bathroom without like going down the hall and going to the bathroom. So that's very, very nice. Yeah, all those things. They also allow to have drinks in the room, so it's nice to be able to bring my coffee in there, because a lot of times it's like you can't drink coffee hot. So I felt like I was sitting like in the break room trying to drink my coffee a lot of times, because when you have lack of sleep and you need coffee, and yeah, so it's nice to be able to bring my coffee in there. I also feel there's just like a different vibe or feeling that with all the nurses that I have met so far, I feel very comfortable with them. That's not to say the nurses at the other hospital weren't great. I had a couple really great people. It's just different. It's different. I think also another thing is, as you heard earlier in this video, is the monitors. They only are given one baby because there's such medically complex children. They only have one baby at a time. Sometimes AZARIAH, the nurse that had AZARIAH, might have another baby as well. So they all kind of look out for each other's babies, but it's nice, like the nurse who has AZARIAH at Children's sits right outside of his room, or is in his room, sits right outside of his room, does her paperwork, all that type of stuff, and she has him for the day. And she knows him, and she's the one who actually like gives the like synopsis at rounds, and I don't know if it's synopsis, whatever. She tells what's going on at rounds. She also brings up questions, and yeah, so I really like that about it. And they just really seem very compassionate, and they are in a hospital like that for a purpose, because they love what they do. And I think all the nurses, both sides, most of them, like, love what they do. I just think that and I think honestly probably Brigham and Women's is really good with like micro preemies, because that's what they do, a lot of that as well. I think that Boston Children's does as well, but I think they deal more with like complex issues, genetic conditions, so they've seen it before. they've seen trisomy 18, trisomy 13, they've seen all those conditions before. So they have like a baseline of, okay, in these children, we tend to see this characteristic or that characteristic. So maybe their numbers are off in a certain area, but let's double check to make sure it's not this or that. And then if it's not, we'll just assume that it's because of the underlying condition. I hope that makes sense. It's not like one or the other. I just appreciate being over at Boston Children's because of that. There was an incident the other night. Didn't really know what happened. He desatted and he was struggling, I guess. But literally, I had been up like the hour before. I was up at like 3. I had pumped. I had seen him for a couple minutes. He was kind of cranky. I kind of, not cranky, but like just kind of like, felt like he couldn't get comfortable or whatever. So I had like rocked him a little bit and like petted his bum. And the nurse had done that too. And then he seemed okay. I went to lay back down, and the next thing I knew, like, I could hear her talking, and I got up, and she had already like taken care of it. Like, I wake up at like the tiniest of like noises, obviously, like with little kids or with Eden or